the dawn of 2019, we said goodbye to an amazing decade for technology. In my opinion, the biggest change for this decade was the development of the internet. Here is the internet from 2010, and here is the internet from 2020. Just by looking at it, you can see the vast difference in graphics layout and overall efficiency compared to what it has become today. With this massive internet overhaul, there's one thing I believe that changed significantly between 2000 and 2020, and I believe that was the rise of Adobe, and my favorite property they own, Flash. So it may come as a surprise to you if I say that Adobe did not create Flash. Far from it, in fact. To really get a good idea of who invented it, we need to go back to the radical 80s, a decade of great advancement for technology. The early origins of Flash trace back to an American software developer named Jonathan Gay. He first experienced writing programs on his Apple II computer in high school. He'd written a graphics program for the Apple II using Pascal, a programming language for those who did not know. Later down the road, he teamed up with Charlie Jackson, who started a Macintosh software company called Silicon Beach Software. While there, Jonathan combined animation and digital sound to create a Macintosh electronic game called Airborne. He even later created Smart Sketch. This lets users draw on the computer screen with an electronic pen. This was the start of his own company, dubbed Future Wave Software, in the mid-90s. Future Wave introduced a number of improvements to Smart Sketch. Then it was possible to display animation over the web, and then Future Splash Animator was launched. It was so good that in fact Microsoft used it for their MSN website. But then something happened to Future Wave Software. A company called Macromedia Inc. bought the rights to Future Splash Animator, creating Macromedia Flash. But we aren't done yet. Macromedia was a success, and Adobe was fearful that Microsoft would snatch away this tool. So in 2005, Macromedia was bought over by Adobe before Microsoft got a chance, and thus Adobe Flash was born. So Adobe purchased this powerhouse of a program, and what happens to it? Well, Flash in the early 2000s kind of became a tool that was often used for 1, animating, and 2, running online games. For now, I'll focus on 2 as it's more relevant to me. So with the internet expanding rapidly, there's a much larger audience to appeal to by the day. And what do tiny children do when they're on the internet and bored out of their minds? They go looking for browser games. I'm sure like 100% of you know what this is, but for anyone on the surface of the earth who doesn't know what a browser game is, essentially it's a website dedicated partially or entirely to running games of a variety of genres. Often there are puzzle or fast-paced games with little story and probably no save button. Also, they have this music blasting in the background with almost no way to turn it down. They may seem a bit repetitive and boring, and perhaps even low quality, but to the kids from the 2000s, these games were like the Fortnites and Minecrafts of the decade. Granted, there were many other games with higher graphics and better stories, but the thing about these Flash games is that they were free. Imagine endless entertainment for free, so long as there was an internet connection. The catch is that many of these web pages embedded with Flash could often download malicious programs onto unsuspecting users' computers. Even worse, often these websites were accessed by students in school. See, those school filters weren't everything they were cracked up to be, easily bypassed. You could probably guess the effect this could have on the poor school, but hey, don't blame me, I didn't know the Fancy Pants Adventure would give me a computer virus. I'm not making that name up, by the way, this is a very much a real game. Anyway, you could probably see how these Flash games caused quite a bit of trouble. Some of these were actually well made, like the Riddle School franchise and Super Smash Flash. But Flash had another use, the animations. They were mostly basic, nothing too fancy, they give you that early 2000s vibe, and they're solely responsible for bringing this into life. Oh no, not this again, not the budget, no! Not again! A lot of shows that aired on TV also have used a form of Flash, from time to time, including shows like Johnny Test, Lego Ninjago, and Caillou. So this all sounds good, a great program being used by millions. what went wrong with Flash, and what remains today. We've covered the successes and uses of Adobe Flash so far, but alas, nothing good can last forever. On the 31st of December 2020, and about 6 or 7 months away at the time of me making this, Adobe will end support of Flash. In fact, already a lot of websites automatically block Flash and you need to manually turn it on to use it. Many websites have already moved on to better programs like HTML5 and WebGL. Back a while ago, Steve Jobs criticised Flash and ended support on the iPhone, saying it was too insecure, too proprietary, too resource intensive, and too unaccommodating for a platform run by fingertips. It seems that Adobe even knew where it was going as early as 2010, when they started investing in HTML5. Google has already blocked Flash ads from running, and Firefox and Edge are moving away from Flash also. It's sad to hear about this, but it's too inefficient to carry on, and all we can do is wait for the inevitable end. Can we? Oh, you didn't think that Flash was going to end and people wouldn't have something to say about it, would you? Tens of thousands of fans enraged, backlash building up and petitions all over the internet. A team of underground digital preservationists are fighting to save Flash games from their horrible fate. A man by the name of Blue Maximus managed to save 2,400 Flash animations and over 38,000 Flash games. He set out in 2017 with a team of nostalgic programmers and curators to create an all-in-one archive of playable Flash games, as safe as possible from the death and shutdowns of Flash. No, I don't recommend torrents. I don't encourage torrents. I don't believe torrents should be used. But the torrent they use is called Flashpoint and is 241GB large and downloadable to any Windows user. This is of course entirely in the name of conservation. But guess what? Flashpoint isn't the only organisation preserving Flash. Newgrounds themselves, which is a big Flash website if you didn't know, has released a desktop app that plays Flash games that no longer work online. Other developers are porting to consoles, mobile and PC too. While many people have reached out to thank Flashpoint for their efforts, there are some who are, let's put it, quite upset. Some have reached out complaining. See, some companies want money and they want to preserve their own games and charge people for it. Well, this seems outrageous as Flash games are free to play. They have all the rights to do so. While Flashpoint may be a noble effort, some of the stuff they may do to obtain these games may be infringing on copyright, and this is a great risk to take. So here we are at the end again. I should really work on an end screen at this point. This one was really fun to make and I actually hope you had some fun too. There was a lot of research to do on Flash, and if you want these Flash games to be remembered, consider signing a petition or supporting the indie game companies that make Flash games. It may not be too late to show Adobe how much we like Flash. Anyway, I have to sign out to start working on next week's project. Goodbye for now!
A budget film production.